What is up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys have had yourselves a great weekend, and we are here to talk about the final episode in what is now It Welcome to Derry Chapter 1. And what an episode it was. What a great way to end, this first chapter. It sounds like obviously there's more seasons coming, because I believe the showrunners planned for 3 seasons, but they haven't been renewed for season 2 yet. So I hope that's the case, and it does get renewed for season 2, because I very much enjoyed this series, and it has been, you don't get good series like this that often, depending on what you're looking for. But this was very good. I'm mainly going to stick with doing my review of the episode 8, but I am going to do a much uh another video just over the overall season 1 thoughts of the show. But with episode 8 of the show, obviously we know how the episode 7 ended. Pennywise is now able to break free. So he's no longer constrained to his cage, because later in the episode they talk about, like, if he reached a certain point, like the dead wood tree, if he reaches beyond that point, they can't contain him. They like he'll be free to go all across the country, potentially even the world at this point. So I really loved how this episode opened up, because it reminded me, and I think a lot of people may have pointed this out too, but it reminded me of the mist, and just the way that mist rolls in and things like that. So that's a nice little callback to that, and probably connection, because I think that's also a Stephen King novel. This show, particularly episode 8, does really really good, because it does make it, and I've seen people talk about it as well, but all of Stephen King's novels, I've seen people say that, like, all the novels and everything take place basically in the same universe. So, um, The Shining, The Mist, I think The Mist, and so, but yeah, we just see like this huge mist just come through and just cover the entire town, just like death creeping through the town and everything. Um, and Pennywise starts to go to work. He goes to the high school, uh, cancel classes for the day. Upperclassmen are free to go home, but everybody else has to go to the auditorium for a presentation. He kills the principal, and like uses his body like a puppet, and then he deadlights the patty cakes and the rest of the school, and basically just leads them across the river, because as the fog is like moving across the river, it's freezing the river as well. You have Ronnie, Ronnie, Lily, and Marge um make a plan. They gotta go. They gotta go find Will, because while Pennywise is taking all these people, the flyers start to pop up to show all the missing kids and stuff like that. And so their plan is to go save Will, but Marge also wants to kill the clown for rich and that kind of thing. But um, and I've talked about it in a previous episode. Lily is just like acting very very bizarre, and interestingly enough, the shard that she's holding is basically, I guess the best way to put it, it's like the ring for Gollum. Like, it's possessing and twisting her mind and everything. And same thing with like Harry Potter and one of the lockets, one of the Horcruxes of Voldemort. It's like twisting their mind and corrupting and causing them to lash out and say things they normally wouldn't say. So they hijack a milk truck to follow the trail of blood left by Pennywise, end up crashing and get into a scuffle, and they're able to snap Lily out of it. Ronnie tells her, "Lily, you are a lifeboat," and that kind of snaps her out of it. And they take turns with the shard. That way, it doesn't, overpower and corrupt them as much as it was with Lily. Because Lily had this thing since episode, um, episode 4 or 5, I believe. Like she's had it for a while, and she's held on it for a good bit. So it eventually has definitely took a hold of her. So while the kids make their way to try to find Will, you got Hanlon going home trying to reach Will, gets into a scuffle with Pennywise, and Pennywise is like, what scares a man without fear? And obviously, his son and everything. Um, he goes find Charlotte, and the plan is good because the only person who can potentially find a Charlotte is Halloran. Now Halloran is having his own situation where obviously because of him opening that door for all those like spirits or whatever to communicate for him to communicate and they communicate with him. He's having a rough go of it. He's ready to just end things at that moment, but Hanlon's able to stop him, beg for him to help him, save their boy. So they go to Rose. So Rose says she can help him um, shut shut the noises out. And so he makes like this drink for him to take, and the way she phrases it is like, when he drinks this, like one door closes, another's gonna open. So it's gonna shut out the noise that he has previously going on, so he can focus on finding the dagger. And like she starts to say something like "Don't go," and it just starts. He starts like freak, you know, hallucinating the crap out of it. You don't really know what she says. It says "Don't go." I'm curious on what she says. Maybe it has more to do with like where he goes at the end of the episode, which we'll get that in a second. Um, so the plan is Halloran's gonna find the dagger. They're gonna take the dagger and use it as the replacement piece to contain Pennywise. That way he cannot escape Derry. And so, in the meantime, the military finds out about it. Obviously, they got to play a part in it. Um, and so they all go, and the girls catch up with the trail of blood. Their little carnival for Pennywise and the floating kids, all just floating there. They find Will, try to get him, and that's when Pennywise comes out and basically starts to uh, torment them. And he's back. He's pushed away at first because Ronnie has the shard at first, but he specifically goes after Marge and drags her away. And this was wild. Like I paused it at this moment, but he's talking to Marge, and he what if he called her Trozer? I think that was the last name. And she was like, who? And like, cause she's very confused. She has no idea what he's talking about. He pulls out a flyer, and it's a picture of Rich, Finn Wolfgard, if that's his last name, from the 2017 It movie. And I was like completely surprised about that. I was not expecting it. Now, people who probably know more about Stephen King, know more about it and all that stuff, they probably knew that. I didn't know that. I never knew anything about that. So it seems like, and this gets brought up later in the episode, which I'll touch that. I'll touch on in a second because these two things kind of connect with each other. But anyway, um, Charlotte, Rose, Stanlin, Halloran, and Hanlon show up. They show up. They reach the kids. Uh, Danlin and Hank go to the tree so they can bury the shard because the shard is gonna push back. Like it's gonna resist. It wants to go home. It's gonna cause an issue. So as they're making their way to the tree, the military shows up. They do their military thing. Um, and while they have like Charlotte and them surrounded, Will and the girls have the shard, and they're gonna like go hide in the fog and work their way around so they can not be seen and place the shard inside a tree, making it where they can lock Pennywise back up. Meanwhile, you got General Shaw. He comes across Pennywise because he sees him with the binoculars. And, like you knew he was gonna die, obviously, but like he goes And cool thing was Marge. To jump back with Marge real quick, as Pennywise goes to attack her, he like freezes, kind of like he did when he first came across the shard. He kind of just freezes, and Halloran set up like got inside Pennywise's head and is messing with him. Like everybody around is calling him Bob, and Pennywise, my name's not Bob, and everything. But the military kind of f's that up because they grab Halloran, and I think they threw him on the ground, which resulted showing his hand being Halloran. And Pennywise, oh, tricky, tricky, and very cool. I really love this too. It's like he goes and he pulls like he's pulling off a mask of the ringleader, and it's just like there's Halloran, and Pennywise snaps out of it. The general's like, "You're free to go." Like he just steps aside, he lets him go, and then like you see him like sniffing. I guess maybe to, like see if he can smell fear or something like that. But as he starts to go, he stops. He's like, "I remember you," and he remembers Shaw from when he was a boy. He's like, "I never forget a smell." And obviously Shaw ends up getting killed. I kind of hated that Rose wasn't there for that. Like Rose wasn't there to see him get killed or something like that. So I mean, it's fine, but I kind of would have liked that little aspect, like that little door closed right there between Shaw and Rose. Um, and so Pennywise, he starts making his way towards the kids and everything, and that man is just strutting his stuff as he's walking past, and like everybody sees him. Um, Hank and the crew are able to overpower the guards and go to fire at him, to fire at Pennywise to try to slow him down just enough before Will and the girls make it to the tree. And as it looks like, they're not going to make it, Pennywise is going to get free. And like Rose kind of gets this like inkling that there's something there, and she kind of turns. Now we don't see it at first, but then Halloran turns, and it is the war chief, and she has Rich next to her, and so he takes off running, and Rose is like, "What do you see?" And Halloran's just like a miracle, and I loved it because like as Pennywise is like crawling his way, kind of regenerating at the same time, like crawling his way to reach the kids. Rich is running by, shoots him a bird, and keeps on. He was probably like, "What the?" Um, and he comes in time to help Will, Ronnie, Lily, and Marge push the shard just enough to where it will lock into place and lock in Pennywise. Which he it was his physical form is gone, but his deadlights form kind of scampers off back to his lair, and so we're not going to see him for another 27 years. And they, at the end they talk about it how they felt like there was like another pair of hands here, and they're like it had to be Rich and everything. So I was like, oh man, that was the power of friendship, people. The power of friendship. Um, and so we get into like epilogue kind of stuff. There's a funeral going on for Rich. I'm surprised they did not have did well. No, I guess it's fine. But they have the funeral for Rich. Halloran can see that Rich is there. He goes to his parents and tells them like that hand you feel on your shoulder, that's your boy. He's there with you. He'll always be there with you. Um, and Halloran makes his leave. Lily goes to talk to her dad and talked about how she's made new friends. Um, and then we get to the end. We get to the end where like the kids are at the hangout spot. They're like drinking sodas and stuff like that. And this is when Marge talks to Lily about what Pennywise said about how he said I was gonna have a son and things like that. And because the Pennywise, and this was something I was curious about when he was talking about it, because she's Marge said the Pennywise, the past, present, and future are all the same to him. So maybe he sees time differently than what we do, because he talked about how her son Rich and his friends kill him in the future, but killing him is also his birth, and so it gets like into this whole, because I don't think you can actually kill Pennywise, um, or kill it, and so there's a lot to probably unpack right there with that conversation. And Mars says like that's why he wanted to kill me the most. But what if he can go back in time? What if he goes back in time to before we were born and try to kill one of our parents so we aren't born? And then Lily's like, then it's gonna be somebody else's fight. I was like, yeah, you guys got 27 years to just like chill and relax. Um, we got uh Hank and Halloran. They're part ways, and Halloran tells him like he's going, got a plane to London. He's got a friend who owns a hotel, and like how bad a hotel can be, which is a hint to The Shining, because in The Shining there's a man called Dick Halloran as well. So little connection there. I love that. Um, Rose tries to convince Charlotte and Hank to stay because she's selling the farm, and it's not the same because now that Thanlin was killed and everything, it's not the same. So she kind of wants them to join them and keeping Pennywise locked up, making sure nobody will mess with it, because like she says, others will come. This is not the end of the story. People are going to try to come to unlock Pennywise again, and so we need to be here to make sure that doesn't happen. Um, and so they decide to stay on, and everything, because which is yeah, because like I think the character of Hanlon appears in the It Chapter 1 movie from 2017, I think it was. So obviously he was going to be there. I'm quite surprised we didn't really see many more deaths. I was expecting maybe Charlotte to die or something, maybe one of the kids to die or something. There was like I'm not upset about it. No, well, Margaret would have been fine because she has Rich, but like maybe like Lily or Ronnie, because I know people had talked about that in It Chapter 1, the 2017 film, Beverly is talking to a girl in the pipes and her name is Ronnie. So maybe this is a different Ronnie from that movie, or I don't know. That's interesting question. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. Or like really all the episodes have been really good. Um, so now they definitely set up a season 2 and a season 3. But at the end, because one of the things I said was towards the end of the other episode, I was like, I wonder what happened to Ingrid. Well, she's in Juniper Hill. She's gone crazy. And with her, we jump 27 or 26 years into the future, where we see the old lady that was, I think, maybe in It Chapter 2. I don't remember if she was in Chapter 1, but It Chapter 2, we see her and she's hearing people like crying and things like that. She goes to investigate, um, and there we see Beverly in the final shot. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so that was like, it's like, oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. But season 2 and season 3, from what I heard, it's gonna go back in time. So like, um, what was that one? The car that they found towards the beginning of the season. It was like the Dudley gang or something like that. That's probably going to be season 2, and then season 3 is going to be the 1908 timeline, where there was a ironworks factory that burned down, I think is what it's called. So I hope we get a season 2. I love this series. It was very fun. Like Like, if you have not seen it, you need to definitely go see it because it was just so good. But that is relatively it, guys. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to comment below. Tell me what you guys thought of it. Welcome to Derry. What are your expectations for like any future content we get from that? I'm very much invested and excited. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one.